Okay, we're rolling. Hello, viewers, or viewer, or anyone who sees this ever. Robin here. Rant video, obviously, today. And yeah, it's gonna be about the series, like the web series Carmilla, as well as the novel. So if you don't want spoilers for that, I would suggest go on YouTube for the movie and series for Carmilla by Kinda TV. And the book, I can read it if you want. That would be fun. Would that be fun? I don't know. But it would be content. Oh, before the video starts, let me introduce you to my beautiful kitten. This is Frankie. Look at her. Look how sweet she is. You happy? She's happy. She makes the cutest purring noises. Can you hear that? Yeah, you can hear that. Anyways, so since she jumps on Since she jumps on my desk sometime, I thought that I would introduce her to you before that happened and a video was ruined. So anyways, to the thing. Carmilla is a series from, I believe, 1872. Or not a series, a book from 1872 by Sheridan Le Fanu. Absolutely amazing writer. I've never seen any more of his work. But it's about gay vampires. Or a gay vampire. So, essentially, there's this girl named Laura. And one day, a carriage crashes at Laura's house and she meets Carmilla, who is an adorable everything. She's adorable, and she just so happens to be a vampire from the 1600s. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot notes on Carmilla. Is it paused? Okay, we're back. So, I have a notebook with notes that you cannot see on the character of Carmilla. She is a kind of weak, very romantic, very odd, like eccentric, lesbian vampire who looks like a 19-year-old girl. And she's very calm. She gets weak, like really, really weak every once in a while. And yeah, she is in love with Laura, which, great, Laura's in love with a vampire. And much it's just Laura trying to figure out her vampire lover, and eventually the adults, like Laura's father and Laura's father and a family friend whose niece happened to die because of Carmilla. They find out that she's a vampire, and despite Laura being very upset, they kill her. And then Laura writes this novel, and while she's delivering it to the publisher, she gets hit by a train. So yeah, there's a lot of speculation that Carmilla actually saved her from a train wreck. And now they're vampires in love, which I like that ending. There's also an alternate ending on the internet. Look up Carmilla alternate ending novel, and you'll find this comic about an ending where Carmilla survives and Laura saves her, and they run away together. And it's really sweet. And then there's a lot of adaptations based on it. There's a web series, obviously, that I'm going to talk about now, where Laura is in college. It's current times, or current for, it's like 2013, 2014, around then. And in this universe, Laura is a student at Silas University, a very odd college in Austria, with a bunch of weird, like, occurrences. And girls, and her roommate goes missing, Betty. And so she starts investigating her roommate's disappearance while filming it. And she gets a roommate, Carmilla. Happens to be a 300-year-old vampire who works for the dean of students, who happens to be kidnapping girls. Yeah. And there's some really sad stuff about something based on the book, where instead of Laura, it's Elle in the book, or in the events. And it's in the 1800s, and Carmilla falls in love with her, and then changes her ways from being an evil vampire because she couldn't save Elle and got put in a coffin of blood for like 100-something years. And then in a world war, they accidentally dug her up. So yeah. So since then, she's been trying to spite the dean of students, who is her mother, by saving girls. And it's really sweet. And yeah. There's LaFontaine and Perry that are two of the other main cast. LaFontaine, they're a mad scientist, pretty much. And Perry is their girlfriend-ish. They never start dating, but they're very obviously in love with each other. Who is trying to, like, not let LaFontaine blow up the campus, essentially, and does not believe in any of the supernatural stuff, even while it's happening. There's Danny, the lit TA, who is in love with Laura as well, but obviously Laura chooses Carmilla, because Danny's a bit overprotective, and it's uncomfortable for Laura because her dad's super overprotective. And yeah, there's also Kirsch. Kirsch is a frat boy. That's it. And they have to save the missing girls, who sometimes they come back, but they act really weird. They're like all like party animals, and they were not party animals before. And one of them jumps off a building. That was an upsetting part. La Fontaine gets taken, and they come back, and they're really weirdly acting. It's a very concerning part of the show. And this is season 1, by the way, only. And yeah, there's that, and they always come back like that, and then they're always talking about the party, which is the celebration where they get sacrificed to a light god, who happens to actually be an anglerfish god living underneath the campus. Anyways, so there's this whole like sad thing about Laura getting possessed, and then Carmilla not telling her, and they have an argument, and Carmilla leaves, but then she sacrifices herself to save the campus because Laura is in trouble. And also, Laura keeps saying, like, I know you didn't do this for me. Obviously, she did it for you. But yeah, so there's that. And then there's season 2, where, wait, Carmilla sacrifices herself to save Laura. Only Laura. But then they find her a month later, and yeah, Laura gives her blood. She comes back to life, and they kiss finally after flirting the whole season. Season 2 is sad. It's very sad. Perry gets possessed. La Fontaine doesn't know that Perry is possessed until season 3, and it's really sad to see like all of that. Carmilla's sister shows up, Maddie. Maddie is something. She's also a vampire, obviously. A human sister would have died off a while ago, but Maddie is part of the board of directors. Because they killed the dean, by the way. I forgot to mention that. They killed the dean. And yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. But oh, JP, who is a dead dude that got absorbed into the library. By the way, the library is sentient. It's a whole thing. The library is sentient, and I don't even know at this point. It's odd. Very odd. But the library is sentient, and it absorbed someone into its library-ness. I don't know. And he gets put into the body of a vampire by La Fontaine because they are in love or something. There's a whole weird love thing with Perry, La Fontaine, and JP. JP's the dude, the dead dude. So La Fontaine and JP might be dating. It's never confirmed or denied, but they're in love. Perry hates it. I personally think they should all just get with each other. Or they can't anymore because I'll tell you later. But it's really it's a weird thing. I don't know. Also Perry might have fallen in love with Maddie at some point. I don't know. It's a weird interaction. But it might be because Perry is possessed by the dean. Then there is, you know, there's this vampire hunter dude who's also in the board, and the whole season is mainly them trying to figure out the murder case of 7? A bunch of newspaper kids that it turns out Perry killed while possessed, not normal. Meaning Perry has killed more people than anyone other than the vampires in this series. So that's a thing. There's that. Okay, so Vordenberg, the vampire slayer, and Maddie, the vampire, the main plot is they're running against each other as director of the board, right? Full director of the board. And it turns out Vordenberg is like kind of genocidal. Laura thought he was the better option and helped him win, along with Danny. Because Danny's amazing. May or may not be very much in love. But I need to stop talking about me. Back to the story. But yeah. So this time Vordenberg tries to kill Carmilla. After killing the giant anglerfish god, which, you know, how does this random human, like 70-year-old man, kill a god? But it happens. And he's like a tyrant. Then he comes after Carmilla, who has had an argument and broken up with Laura because Laura is really obsessed with them having like the I can fix him type, or I can fix her type relationship, which, you know, obviously Carmilla doesn't like that much because she doesn't like being controlled. And also because, you know, they used her sister against her. Danny kills her sister, by the way. Forgot to say that. Danny gets in a fight and kills her sister. Which, you know, sparks Carmilla running away, which makes Vordenberg come after her and attempt to kill her. But Laura finds a way to kill Vordenberg before, you know, before Carmilla gets killed. And she does that. And then I guess some weird earthquake happens. I can't entirely remember. But they escape into the library. JP and Perry get left. Danny gets murdered and then turned into a vampire by Perry. Kirsch is just sad. He was in love with Danny, but he's just sad. And then so they escape into the library, where obviously living with your ex isn't the best thing. They watch tapes about past Perry and how she used to be super into magic, and then as a coping mechanism of accidentally summoning the one of the, like, the fairy queen from Shakespeare, Midsummer Night's Dream. You know, the dude who turned the woman who turns that dude's head into a donkey head. That lady. And so she accidentally summoned her when she was like her freshman year, and that messed everything up, and now she's traumatized, so that's why she is the way she is. Um, Carmilla and Laura are still very much in love, but neither of them wants to admit it. And La Fontaine is very upset because they just found out that the dean was possessing Perry, and so this entire time they thought that they were talking to their best friend and possible love interest, or definite love interest, that was never canon. But no, she was possessed for a year, and now she's the way she is. So there's this whole like weird tension between Laura and Carmilla. JP has been sucked back into the library and is helping them from the outside. Laura's depressed. They meet her dad. Her dad sucks. They end up. Oh, they have to find these talismans so that the dean doesn't open the gates to hell. I don't know how I forgot that. The main plot is just Carmilla and Laura being in love. Definitely wanting to fuck each other. But, so anyways, then they figure out that Vordenberg's heart was one of the talismans. So they have to get that. So JP, glitches Laura into another universe where she died in season 1 because Carmilla couldn't save her. And that means that the anglerfish god didn't rise from the depths of hell, and a bunch of people that die in season 2 didn't die. Danny's still alive, but she did murder all of the Zetas, the frat guys, and that happened. Laura's really happy at first. Then she figures out that La Fontaine is one, La Fontaine is living in the library because they got expelled and they make homemade antidepressants now. So pretty much they deal antidepressants via the black market of Silas University. Perry's not possessed, but she did double down on not believing in magic after Laura died. Carmilla is dead inside. She's super clingy with Laura when she finds out that she's still alive. She's slightly insane. Maddie's upset that Carmilla's insane. But yeah, so that happens. At first she thinks it's a better universe than she sees Carmilla, and obviously that's depressing. She doesn't get the heart. Great. Then she gets blasted back into the normal universe. Carmilla is dying inside, not externally. Because attachment issues, I guess. And then they realize, oh, we're still in love. They figure out that they have to kill Perry. La Fontaine is upset with this, and they leave to do who knows what. It turns out they figured out, hey, maybe I can use science to unpossess Perry. It doesn't work. Their eye gets torn out by Perry. Laura ends up sacrificing her heart, but then the death goddess, who is using Maddie to communicate, Maddie's dead body, makes a deal with Carmilla to keep her alive. And it turns out that Laura had already summoned the death goddess and made another deal with her to save Carmilla because she thought that Carmilla would die if the dean died. Also, the dean is apparently a god. That's a thing. which explains why she can make vampires. But they exorcise Perry. Laura dies, but then she gets brought back to life by the goddess of death. And Carmilla loses her immortality, so she's human now. And then they have this really nice shot of Perry and LaFontaine leaving while Laura's still dead. Just like, hey, maybe we should clean your eye. But that happens. Then 5 years later, the movie. Perfect. Danny is now a vampire rights activist. Kirsch Mel, who is some random woman from the Summer Society, the sophomore, not the sophomore, sorority? Sorority. One sec. You like my cup? Look at my cup. It's a vampire chalice. But anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. So Carmilla starts becoming a vampire again, which sucks because Laura's also having visions of Carmilla when she and Elle were around. If you don't remember Elle, skip to whatever timestamp I end up putting here. Okay? And they find the ghosts of all of Carmilla's victims in Elle's old house because they figure out, hey, maybe we should go to the house where all this started so that they can save Carmilla's humanity. And it turns out they have to do a ritual with the ghosts. Mel falls in love with one of them, which means there's now 3 people who have fallen in love with dead people in this show. God, that sounds terrifying out of context. But, yeah. It turns out Elle is really mad at the fact that Carmilla killed her. Carmilla didn't even kill her. She found out Carmilla was a vampire, went with Maddie, and then Maddie killed her. So Carmilla didn't even kill Elle. She tried to save her. But, yeah, apparently being locked in a blood coffin wasn't punishment enough to Elle. So she wants Carmilla to lose her immortality, and she wants Laura to leave her. That doesn't happen because Laura is an amazing girlfriend and willing to kill all of the ghosts. Not kill them, but like send them to a nightmare dimension. Oh yeah, also they end up getting sent to a nightmare dimension because, let me backtrack. So the ghosts figure out that they can finally be at peace if Carmilla, gives up her immortality for them. So they do that ritual. Thing is, the ritual doesn't work. All of them get sent to a nightmare dimension. But LaFontaine, they step in and save the ghost that Mel later falls in love with. And they get disintegrated and sent to the nightmare dimension. And then slowly, throughout the thing, all of them get sent to the nightmare dimension. And then Laura is willing to let all of them die in a nightmare dimension over and over again, where they have to see their worst fears forever, or their worst regrets in life. Carmilla is just stuck in the moment where Elle figures out she's a vampire and leaves, which ends with Elle dying. But she's stuck in an endless loop of watching that. No one knows what happened to LaFontaine, Kirsch, and Mel's nightmare things. We didn't see any of those. Laura's is her wasting her life trying to get a goal that she could never achieve, which is newspaper stuff. Perry's is the fact that is her stress from, oh yeah, Perry and LaFontaine opened a business together, and they sell like supernatural like help tools. Like they have vegan blood supplements for vampires who don't want to kill people, which is great, right? It's very handy. But LaFontaine is so busy with their inventions that they leave Perry to do all the paperwork and all the financial stuff and everything. And it's ended with a lot of arguments with them, right? So, yeah, that's Perry's worst regret, being forced to do paperwork for LaFontaine for eternity. And it's so bad, like, she sees this so many times that when LaFontaine, like, they come to take her out of the nightmare, and she doesn't believe that they're real. Which is really sad. This happened with Carmilla, like, alternate universe Carmilla, when Laura showed up. She was confused and all that. But, yeah, and we don't know what happened to Mel. Apparently Kirsch was being hunted for sport again. He's been hunted for sport twice now. And they find Elle, who is going to use the immortality that the mortal part of Carmilla to become human again, which will leave all of the ghosts to die. But they end up winning. And Mel shoots Elle. Oh, that rhymed. And then there's this really sad moment where they put all the spirits to rest, and Mel takes Natalie, I believe is her name. I don't know what her name is. It's the ghost. She takes Natalie's face in her hands, and they have such a sweet kiss. But while they're kissing, the spirits are being put to rest. So, while Mel is holding her, Natalie, or whatever her name is, disappears. So it's just like Mel is kissing her, and then it's so sad. And yeah, I wish they were gonna make a sequel. I don't think they will. Frank, are you good? But yeah. And then Carmilla is a vampire again. But Laura's okay with it. And it's just really sad. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Oh my god, it's 34 minutes. My storage is going to die. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna save this to Drive, and hopefully you'll see me later. I might even have an intro to this one, or an outro, whichever one. So this is Robin, signing off.